Welcome to Live Action Star Wars. I'm James.
I'm Ralph.
And this week we are talking about episode 7 of Skeleton Crew. We're going to be in so much trouble.
Yeah.
And
we're probably doing it alone.
Probably.
Oh my God.
In case you've had your head under a rock, LA's on fire at the moment, and it's really bad. And so obviously all of our thoughts go to everyone affected there. Ralph, you guys are okay at the moment, aren't you? You're further south.
Yeah, we're fine.
Yeah,
we're fine.
Good. But
if you look at the map, it's like this.
Yeah,
and we're
I think people outside of America and who don't know like LA geography just think of it as like any old city, when Los Angeles is enormous and Anaheim is another city, isn't it? It's like way further south. But I don't know why I'm explaining this. Most of our audience is in America, and you know that already.
Yeah.
But for the Brits listening, it's all connected, but it's separate.
I mean, like a ton of our guests are like affected. Like,
I know a lot of people that we know
evacuated. Jacob's been out of the country, but Jacob's around. Riley, Chrysanthi, Pete and his family. Patrick. Yeah, we don't know if Patrick's going to be here. He said he may not. I know he evacuated yesterday. So it's like, I just woke up like a half hour ago. I've been sick. So I don't know how things are going, but hopefully things are better today. I know the winds died down. The problem was that it was like 100-mile-per-hour winds.
Yeah, I've been watching the news like for the last couple of days, and just it's fucked. Everything's on fire, and climate change is real, and it's really bad. Do something to help it if you can, or get loud to the people that can really make it change. So we're probably doing it alone. But Patrick may jump in and join us. It's Patrick. Even if there wasn't fires, he'd probably just jump in whenever he feels like it anyway, because that's how he rolls. We're doing it a day late as well, because as Ralph said, he was sick yesterday. Still not feeling great today. But after last week where I was talking to myself for a lot of it, and then Ralph jumped in the best he could, my throat was getting sore, so I needed someone to bounce off of.
Patrick's in Palm Springs. That's where he ended up going. He told me that last night, and I'm like, and I wish I could be in Palm Springs.
Yeah, right. That sounds great.
Like, it's so crazy, and I'm hoping everything's fine. I know he is somewhere around UCB in Hollywood, and I heard like the street that UCB's on was like one of the like lines. That if you're south of that street, you're stick around. It's okay if you're north of that street, like, and so it's tough.
Not worth the risk.
I have a friend who lost a house, which it's awful. It's just awful.
You see some of the pictures and stuff of like the Palisades and stuff, and it looks like a movie. It doesn't look real.
Now it's Sunset Boulevard. It was Franklin.
Okay.
So
yeah, it's not good. Like it feels tacky to say like thoughts and prayers and all that, but like genuinely, like all of our thoughts. I've seen a lot of people sharing like where shelters are open, who's running free food, who's like just general advice. So don't be worrying about watching a Star Wars podcast if you're in any way affected. But if you're safe and you need a little bit of just make sure you're safe. And it's amazing to people over here, because they look at it and go, how are all these houses burnt to the ground so quickly? Because everything's wood construction.
It's the winds.
And but I mean it's nuts. It's we're gonna try and talk about a fun show though, because Skeleton Crew is generally a really fun show. This episode was really good. I really enjoyed it. We are going full speed into sort of finale time now. We're one episode away. Anything else you wanted to add on to last week's episode? Because your connection was really spotty last week.
No, I think I got it all out when I decided
when
to
you were
join
able
my
to get
phone.
in. Yeah.
That was so fucked.
Yeah, that was a whole clusterfuck. That was one of the worst like technical difficulties episodes I think we've had.
I mean, and it's only because we had an outage, an internet outage. There's like nothing I can do.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like this week, you're like, if you want to skip, we can do next week, episode 7 and 8. And I'm like, no,
No.
it's been too long already.
Agreed.
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, and the reason why Patrick was going to be on is because I was sick. Like I reached out to him like after I watched the episode. Um I was gonna post the art and he said something and I'm like, oh, do you want to be on so I don't have to talk that much? And then all the shit went down. So yeah, it's okay. He's not here. He's
absolutely
yeah,
fine.
he's got
He's
plenty
doing the
on
right
his
thing.
mind.
Yeah. What did you think of this week's episode, Ralph?
I loved it.
Me too.
I loved it.
I'm glad that you did.
So you guys know my friend Mick does the music for the show, and pretty much every week I just send him a thing like, dude, because he was like concerned because he's like, oh, I hope you like it. I hope you like it. Because he knows how Star Wars fans are. He knows how I am. And he it's a thing that he worked on. Yeah. And I tell him, I'm like, dude, I'm not blowing smoke up your ass. I genuinely love this show. And I sent him that message this week, and he was saying how people are really mad because Jod is an asshole.
Oh,
like people are not happy. And I'm like, I love it because it's not
right.
It's not Star Wars.
No.
You're waiting. Every fucking buddy on the internet's been talking about his heart of gold. He's going to have a heart of gold. He has a soft spot for the kids. And I fear it may still happen, but at this point, I want him to be just the worst.
They've doubled down on it this week. Like when he lopped off SM's head, I was like, oh, I don't know. Like Liz yelped. Like she was sat next to me. We were watching it last night, and she yelped and she just said no. And like she sat like on the edge of the seat, and is like really genuinely upset about it. About you know this fun cranky peg leg robot losing his head, and you know I don't know if that's going to be the end of that droid. You can put droids' heads back on. We've seen things like that in the past, but
yeah, we've seen droids function without a head.
We've seen all sorts. And like the mouse that was in his head is still kicking. So there's something there.
I thought he was going to step on him.
I did too.
They give it a little bit of a moment where you think he's going to step on him.
Yep. But that's it. As Jeremy Kelly says here, not everyone's Han Solo. Like there are assholes out there. Like, and I think it is good that he is. I do still see a way that they'll turn it around and he'll save the day, save the kids' lives at least. Maybe not save the day, but might like help them survive. And I'll go into what I think how that could play out in a bit. But I like that he's just an asshole. I like that he's the bad guy in this. I think it's key, and it's really, really good, especially when he's killed the other primary antagonist at this point, other than the supervisor.
Right.
He executed him in front of everyone.
Yeah. Did you watch The Penguin?
Yeah, loved it. Absolutely loved it.
So I was telling Mick, I was like this is like the second show he's worked on where like you think of the heart of gold, and then you're like, oh nope, they're just an asshole and they suck and they're the worst. So I'm hoping they stick with that. If they don't, listen, I don't want expectations to ruin the finale. Again, and I posted this on Blue Sky, like notoriously I'm known for like not liking the finale of Star Wars shows, maybe with the exception of Obi-Wan.
Oh yeah,
well, Andor's nice
because it's a midpoint
because it's three stories. It's three individual like arcs.
Yeah.
So it's like, you're not really going to mess things up. And also, we know the ending of Andor.
Yeah, exactly. It's called Rogue One.
Rogue One.
It's an amazing movie.
Yeah. So like, I'm just like, I want him to just be bad.
Me too. It'd be great to have
there's
a pirate out there, like a pirate that we know and we could maybe check in on later. Like,
it's so funny because like there's the scene where the kids are on their knees and he's at the computer monitor. He's trying to sort shit out in his brain, and he's sitting there, and it was literally me after I watched the show. I'm not feeling good, and I'm not the biggest fan of like. This is gonna sound mean. I love doing this show because I love talking to my friend James. It's my favorite thing to do. It's why we do hiatus episodes, is because I get to talk to James even if I don't feel like talking about Star Wars. But after the show's done with these tight, where we have a quick turnaround time, where I got to get up and get the artwork ready and get the studio ready and do all this stuff, where I'm just like, it's data entry, and I sit at my computer. And inevitably, my cat will just sit in the hallway and just yell at me and yell at me and yell at me. And I'm just like, just shut up.
Yeah.
Just everybody just shut up so I can get through this thing. I'm trying to work things out in my brain. I got to make sure all my ducks are in a row. This episode, I noticed when I came into the studio, says Skeleton Crew episode 5 with guest Patrick Cotner. This is episode 7. And I just went over to YouTube and changed it from 5 to 7. And it's like one of those things when he's like trying to sort shit out and the kids are just talking and he just is like, shut up.
Yeah.
Stop.
I feel like
it's almost him trying to wrestle with like, hey, listen, I'm not trying to be a bad guy here, but you're really making it tough.
Yeah, I feel like I mean, I'm not there yet. Neither of us are parents, but I feel like it's probably one of the most relatable things to a parent. That scene where it's like, just shut up. I'm just trying to do something. Like right now, like everyone hits a point where like they break. It doesn't, and you know, for parents that doesn't make them a bad parent necessarily, but it's in this scene the way that he screams at them. Like we've seen him be nice to these kids. We've seen him be a bit snarky with these kids, but we haven't seen him be angry. Even when earlier on he's threatening their lives, he's not being mean to them. He's just trying to get what he wants. Now he's got what he wants. He's where he wants to be. So it's like the gloves are off. Literally, the kid gloves are off, and he's like, shut the fuck up. I don't care about you right now. And the way that he talks to them, the you're weak. Like you're weak, you're scared. He's seeing himself in these kids, and I'm now more and more convinced that he was a youngling at some stage. Whether that was Order 66, we don't need to see another Order 66 scene. I really don't want to see that. I really hope we don't see that at the beginning of next week's episode.
If it's implied, fine. Let us fill in the gaps. Don't tell us his backstory. We know what happens when Star Wars tells us his backstory. If you say he was in Order 66, if you say he was one of the kids in like Anakin's room, if you say any of that stuff, then fans start picking this shit apart. And that's what I love about this show. It's not, just leave it. You can just be, it can be its thing. You know, he could be a Padawan like for Ki-Adi-Mundi. Like he was out in the field, inconsequential. He made it out.
Or just a youngling who never made it to a Padawan stage, something like that. Like he could have just been around. He could have scrubbed out early, like or whatever. He had something.
He could have been like Anakin. He could have been denied by the Jedi Council.
Yeah, anything like that. He had a bit of training. He got like the bare bones temple stuff, like the basic training that everyone who goes in would get, and that's all he gets. But because of that, he's got some of that stuff in the back of his mind. And then he was discarded or abandoned, or Order 66 happened, whatever. And he was alone.
I hope discarded.
And I hope discarded too. Pushed out, and at least he feels discarded. And so he's got a chip on his shoulder. That's what drove him to being a pirate. And he's scared. He was scared then, and that's what drove him to that. So he's almost teaching these kids. Like, I think Wim's, like, he sort of sees himself in Wim, where he's like, oh, fuck, like, I was you. And you know what I learned? Push all those guys out. Get rid of all that. Like, get rid of your attachments. Not in the Jedi get rid of your attachments way, but in a selfish, if you don't have attachments, it's all about me. I can survive. Like, I've got my crew. My crew love me. and the crew love me.
Yeah.
But I don't give a shit about the crew. I'll sacrifice any single one of them. That ship goes up, gets blown up, let's send out another one. He doesn't care.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to see this character continue on and pop up later on. Like Favreau and Filoni said, like there are characters from this show that are going to appear in that movie coming up, because it's all the same timeline and everything like that. And the snarky me wanted to just post that headline with a picture of Vane, the other pirate who was in The Mandalorian and then in this. I was like, it's this guy. He's the only one. It's a guy in a mask. Because it's Jude Law. Jude Law's not cheap. The show is probably not cheap to make. Like, if they bring him back, he's probably going to be more than a cameo, I would think, in that. But if he's a pirate, that the New Republic go to, or that they encounter, or something like that, great. If they can keep him around, great. We'll see. But I don't know. I don't want him to be settling down on and then being like the fun Uncle Jod to these kids. Like I don't want that.
Well, that's the thing I'm wondering is like, that's so many credits. That's one vault in so many vaults. What can you possibly do with all of that?
1,139 volts. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So something's gonna happen to that vault, or one of the vaults. I think something's gonna happen.
So there's 1138 left. That's okay. I didn't think about that. But I mean, seriously, like, even if he took, like, based on what we've seen, these single credits, like,
the value of, yeah.
Like, what can you do? Like, there's nothing you could do with all that. Second of all, like, knowing this vault exists, like, or all these vaults exist, like, it drives the price down, right?
It's got to.
If you saturate the market.
Yeah. He's got to control it. I mean, and that's what Atten's been. It's controlled that by hiding it away. It drives up the value. Like it's a scarcity thing. It's fucking crypto, isn't it? It's NFTs.
Sure.
He wants to be a billionaire, and therefore there should be no billionaires.
So I know you're not like a biggest James Bond fan, but this vault,
I don't mind it.
As soon as I saw it, it looks just like Fort Knox in Goldfinger.
Yeah.
Design wise, it looks just like it. I haven't seen any, because I watch like Screen Crush and New Rockstars and stuff. None of them mentioned it, so I'm mentioning it here because it's designed just like it,
and considerably more full and shiny than the vault that they rob on Aldani in Andor. Like it's like that feels like, and that was like an Imperial vault, and you see like what they're dealing with. And that was a big score for the Rebels for that thing at that time. And you see the scale of this. And it's like it's been hidden away for 200 plus years.
Yeah, Jeremy Kelly mentions
amazing
as well. I was gonna say something else that I noticed was the transponder at the beginning that the parents have. It's good to see them back. But it looks just like ET ship.
I was gonna say it's so ET. Them running through the woods and that like side shot of them crossing the river and everything. Like it's great. And it's seeing the parents have their own like Goonies gang as well. I'm just like, it's brilliant. It's exactly sort of like my mind. I remember watching the end of Goonies when they reunite with all the parents. I'm like, what were the parents up to in all of this? Like, well, what were they doing? And
work?
It's what I assume. Well, yeah, but it's what I assume Goonies 2, where if that ever does get made, is gonna touch on. It's like there's gonna be the kids of all the main characters, and then you're gonna have that original cast back. And they're gonna have an adventure as well. Like it's gonna have something like that, and it's like it's nice to see this touch on that a little bit. I think.
Yeah,
but it doesn't need much of it, and they've done it 3 times. They've checked in with the parents, and that's perfect in a show like this. That is the perfect amount. They are looking. They're out there. It's Flight of the Navigator checked in on the parents and the older brother.
Yeah.
It reminded me
Yeah.
of that sort of stuff.
Right. Right. What I feel like we've only been talking 20 minutes, but I want to know, I'm like really curious to know like where you think this is going. Like if Jod just takes, okay, because here's the thing. The robots are clearly controlling this place. I found out that Stephen Fry is the supervisor.
Is he really?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
I
I
did
was like,
I
that
did
voice sounds familiar.
I did think it sounded familiar when I was listening to it, and I was wondering. Yeah, some stuff came out about Stephen
So,
Fry recently, and I was like, oh, I don't know if I like all that, but he probably recorded
oh,
this before any of that, so I don't know.
they had time to
It's
change it.
Yeah, maybe we'll see. We'll see about Stephen Fry.
Jeremy says he's so happy with Stephen Fry.
I mean, I only
Maybe
heard
get
it the other
canceled,
day.
Jeremy.
I haven't. Yeah, I don't. No, I don't know if anything that I heard was substantiated or if it was just an opinion. But yeah.
100% a robot, right? It's not.
Oh yeah,
I feel
completely,
like
absolutely.
I feel like every sort of mystery or any sort of questions we had, we kind of speculated correctly, which is fine. We're
Yeah,
grown-ups watching a kid's show,
yeah,
but
exactly. Kind of should.
also, I'm enjoying it. I'm
Yeah.
enjoying it how it's going. I mean, there's things that don't happen, like KB's the map in KB's head has like nothing to do with the story other than that was able to let the kids go.
They got them home.
So the robots see the ship, which is like a key. It was like some sort of emissary
Well,
had that ship,
it was
and was able to get
and
through the barrier.
it was a ship from. They actually said it's a blah 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 ship.
So Renaud put all that shit on it to disguise it.
Yeah.
Okay.
To make it look like a pirate ship, essentially.
Right. Instead of a sleek, cool looking, like key shaped, amazing ship. I really like the Onyx Cinder now. I think it looks so cool.
I really like it.
So,
it's such a great ship.
So Jod, they now think Jod is this emissary because the emissary probably, or whatever, is it emissary? It keeps changing hands. Probably it's been around. This place has been around for like centuries.
Yeah.
And so he might be, they just see, oh, that's the ship. We'll bring it in. This guy says he's the new emissary. How else would he know about this place? He clearly belongs here.
He's driving the ship. He's got the, like, I mean, yeah, it's yeah.
So like he's got more than he can ever use. Easily more than he can ever use. He could put on a backpack and take off and be happy the rest of his life. Yeah.
Yeah. But he's greedy.
He is greedy. But also, like, that money is just going to be able to get you stuff.
Yep.
Right? So can he just be like, they think I'm the emissary. I can come and go as I please. And is he just going to be like, he's going to go back up to his pirate place and said, this is all the treasure I found. One pallet. Go have fun. And they
I'll share it evenly with all of you.
Yeah. And then he's like, that's it. Go. I've done my thing. I gave you what I promised. You can go. Oh, that guy who wanted the sea is dead. I can go give you you can go get everything I promised you. We're good. See you later. This is all of it.
Yeah.
And then everybody goes away. And then he comes up and then goes like funds the First Order or go gives money to the New Republic or whatever he does. But he can.
Ralph really likes the First Order.
Yeah. He really can just like be like go back and forth. The only thing the thing I'm thinking of is the only thing that like money can really, I mean, it just gets you stuff.
Yeah.
But it can get you power.
But that's it. Like it can't buy you happiness, but it can make opportunities. It can open doors.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe I don't know, maybe he just goes to Kanto Bite and just gambles for the rest of his life.
For what?
Like, fun?
More money? He's got money.
Yeah,
he's set.
Fun. Yeah.
So is this a situation where he wants to?
I mean, the same thing could be said about any billionaire, Ralph. Like, what do they want? Why? Like, why?
Power. It's power. That's what it is now. Is power. We are seeing that currently with our co-president. I don't like talking about that shit, but you fucking George Lucas has been talking about this for 47 years. It's so like, is this a thing where like the more I think about it, the more I think First Order. The whole thing with this Heir to the Empire movie is supposed to be a bridge between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens.
Mm-hmm.
And somehow the First Order exists.
Yeah. We've seen
they would need to be funded.
Yeah.
This
We've
is the
seen that they're
perfect
picking
way to
up
do
the
that.
ashes
I
of the
don't-
Empire. Like they're moving from the Empire, but
I know I don't want all this shit to tie in, but it does make sense.
But again, it can be implied. Like they don't need specifics. It can be implied. And
I don't want Hux.
Him, even if it's a case of he gets outsmarted at some point, like him finding out Atten, essentially Jod being the reason that Atten's cover is blown, and then the powers that be, the remnant, come and go, oh, it's just a fucking band of pirates. They can take out the band of pirates with their current power, I think. And then they've got access to Atten. Shit, there you go. There's the First Order. They've got Ilum that they're turning into Star Killer. Like they're doing it all already. Like, yeah.
If this show ends with just Jod is out there, and then the Heir to the Empire movie ends with like, this is the First Order. How did this happen? And then they just cut to an empty vault with Jod's skeleton just sitting in a chair in an empty vault. Like that would be kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
But it won't be like, we won't need him in the story, but it would be like, it would be a quick like connecting
about
the dots.
Yeah. They've got the Onyx Cinder or a similar ship sort of thing. Like they got something. Yeah, they got a way of getting in.
I mean, make more Onyx Cinders.
Like, if you got one, you could sort of strip it apart. Like you get the codes or whatever it is that's part of that ship. That once you've got a key, you can make a copy of a key.
It feels like also the material it was made out of was important.
I feel like that might just be a case of it's old timey. It was a more decadent age. It was the High Republic. It was more like things were shinier back then. Lightsabers were more extravagant. They weren't as utilitarian.
Well, I mean, the Onyx Cinder, the crashed version that we very first saw in the first episode, had all the shit around it.
Yeah.
So I know Renaud went in and he
clad it in armor, as he said.
Yeah, and it looks like, well, it said that his crew like mutinied and stabbed him and killed him and it crash landed. So he was still able to get through with all that stuff on it.
Mm-hmm.
That stuff didn't like explode and make him crash. So I guess he doesn't need that stuff on it. It's probably best to have this stuff on it, so it's people aren't looking for that shit.
But I think that's it. It's like if they see that, they might go, "Oh, that's shiny and nice." Like even when it appeared on the scopes, the rest of the pirates were like, "Oh," they were like, "Look at that! Look at this! Look at that!" Like they were calling it out for like being quite a sleek relic, but like it's a classic car type situation.
Yeah. I'm interested in next week's because I hope it's good, but I'm really curious to see what Jod does. Is there anything he does that can redeem himself with the kids? Maybe. I don't know. I don't want him to.
Supervisor's got to be a big deal. It's got to be a reveal of like who, what, where, why, when the supervisor is.
Robot.
It's a robot or an AI. I think it's the big gold ball that they go down past. I don't know. Like it was sort of implied that was the mint. That was like actually where it's minting the coin. But I think that could just be that. I've been saying it'll be a big ball of some sort since we saw a ball of some sort in the tower on the other planet. But I think that could be like the central computer, is that ball that they go past. We'll see exactly what it is. It's I don't know where it's going. I don't know why Jod is going to be put into peril immediately. Maybe SM-33 comes back at some point now. I loved him knocking Jod out and just going, "Yeah, good enough. You're a dick."
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that moment.
Can one of the robots intervene? One of the security robots intervene, and it's revealed that the little mouse is in the robot's head.
Oh, one of the security robots' head.
Yeah.
Maybe the little mouse goes in and like rewires one of the security robots, and like, yeah, that'd be interesting. I feel like the security robots are they're gonna want Jod to talk with the supervisor before he leaves.
Yeah.
And so it could just be a case of they overwhelm him, they swarm him before he gets the chance to leave.
Yeah.
The master's tack grenade, I love that.
Yeah.
But like so the adults on know about the mint. They know that that's what they're doing. But because they were going to tell the kids after they graduate and everything like that. That seems like just a rite of passage for people as they grow up. But I don't know if anyone's ever been down there, because when the landing pad opened up, like they were stood on there. It's just a field that they use, and they were like shocked. They were like, they weren't expecting that. So obviously that landing pad hasn't been used in a couple of 100 years, but it's like no one goes down there. That's off limits to people.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah, it's nice that we know about Ad-Atten now. Like, we fully understand what it is.
We know, yeah.
Like,
the only mystery,
like it was like the main mystery.
That's
like the mystery of the show. And the way it's been laid out and the way we've seen it go from her telling stories. Can't I think of her name? Telling stories about people going down into the mines is like an urban legend. Fern, talking about that to like actually seeing what that is. Like it's been a nice like progression of story. Again, it's been something I've been saying since like Mandalorian. And I started saying it with Ahsoka, was like, they know they have 8 episodes. They have to have like a complete story laid out and have these things like ready to go. Unlike Mandalorian, which feels like it's kind of aimless and it's just like an episode of the week, which is fine
anytime.
So for this, I feel like this is the first time. I think John Watts was like, I have 8 episodes of Star Wars to tell for the first time. And this is the story I want to tell. And he parsed it out pretty nicely into 8 episodes. Goddamn, next week better be like, I'm not expecting anything like super like crazy or anything. I just would like a satisfying conclusion to this story.
Yeah. Doesn't mean that
not what I got with Ahsoka.
No, that's it. Even
it's not what I got with Acolyte.
And Andor is blocks. It's blocks of story, and that was always done as a 12 block, but then broken into smaller blocks. So none of the shows so far. Obi-Wan Kenobi is the only one that had a story contained.
Yes.
If this one can do it, then that'd be amazing.
The thing is with like Andor, we said we know how that ends.
Yeah.
Obi-Wan, we know how that ends.
Yeah.
So for them, it's easy because they're like, oh, the ending's already written for us. We just need to fill in this gap.
Yeah.
With this show, with Mandalorian, they don't know, or they may know, but they don't really have like where Mando and Grogu's story ends.
And they don't know if they're getting another season or things like that. Like,
so for this, I feel like please. I know you're gonna leave it open-ended just in case, because it's Star Wars and they like being able to sell like comic books based on these characters, any other kind of like
I think the idea is, I think they always hope that they can do another season, but they cost so much money and they're tightening their belts over there that they don't want to fund another season. So it ends up being comics and books and things like that.
There's a I don't know if you have any interest or have ever watched or cared about Dark Crystal.
I've seen the movie. It wasn't for me.
Right. Okay. Same with Stevie. The movie's not for her. We watched the series, and the series is great. Stevie liked the series.
Cool.
And it kind of clarified some stuff in the movie.
Yeah,
what's great is it's a prequel, and they had 1 season, and it was left in such a way where it's like, oh, I can easily fill in the gaps and know how this goes into the movie. But also, they were hoping for a season 2.
Yeah.
But it worked perfectly both ways, where I was like, I'm totally satisfied with the backstory of Dark Crystal. This is great. I would have liked another season, but it didn't muck anything up. They're like, we may only have one chance to tell this story. Let's finish it in a satisfying way.
Mm-hmm.
And they did.
What Ariaki asks, what would be a satisfaction to the end of this story?
I don't know if I have anything set in mind. I just hope that when we watch it, it's like, it feels like it was always meant to be that way. I know I'm a fan of Lost. I like the finale of Lost, but a lot of people say they were making it up as they were going along, which is how you tell stories.
Yeah.
But people felt like the ending didn't feel like that's where the story was leading to. So whatever the ending of this is, I want it to be satisfactory. I want it to be like, of course he had a heart of gold the whole time.
Yeah.
Or I hope he didn't have a heart of gold the whole time. Whatever it is, I don't want it to feel wishy-washy. I feel like this whole leading up to this has felt so like cohesive and tight. And you can, I mean, it's, ask me, it depends on the day.
Yeah.
It depends on the day. Listen, like, you spend 3 years working on something like endlessly, and your relationship gets strained. But it doesn't, like, I'm not looking for like a very specific thing when it comes to the ending, if that makes sense. I just, like, when you watch it, you'll know, like, this is the game. This is the thing they've been trying to point towards this entire time.
Yeah. It all clicks into place. It's that last piece in the jigsaw that, like, just makes it a real.
You're like, yes, this, with everything, with all the tracks they've laid down, this makes sense to the destination. When it comes to like Ahsoka, they laid so many tracks down, but at the end, like,
it wasn't finished. It wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't a finished thing.
It was the two
Baylan and Shin.
Baylan and I'm like, they like aren't even in the finale until like a post-credit thing, and I'm like, then why were we following them? And I know they were planning on more seasons and they're working on the thing, but at the same time, like, give them a season 1 arc and have that arc finish so that by the time it ends, we're like, great. I think that kind of worked with Acolyte, where we're like, I don't know who this stranger is, but within the one season, we see his arc of getting his apprentice.
Acolyte. Yeah.
So that's great, but it leaves room for them to go on to do more things. Unfortunately, that's not going to happen. Don't tack on a post-credit scene if you're like, I don't know if we're going to do more of these.
Yeah.
Especially it's such a bad post-credit scene. So for me, if you want to leave it open for season 2, great, but don't make it like, don't just stop the story and hope and pray you get a second season. No, just tell this story.
Completely agree.
Don't be like, oh, I'm gonna start telling you a joke and hopefully I can get through 3 setups to tell you the punchline, and then you get canceled and then you don't ever get to that punchline. So I'm thinking John Watts and company, they figured out this story, and I think it's going to end satisfyingly. I mean, whether he's heart of gold, whether he's not, it doesn't matter. I just hope it makes sense.
Watson Ford wrote every episode except for 2 in the middle of the season. It's been theirs like all the way through. It feels like a cohesive thing, and it's played that way. And I'm not ever the optimist. I am holding out hope. I think they're gonna do it. I think they're gonna land the ship, which would be great.
Just let it happen, and don't
like
the next day. Don't be like season 2 coming. No, let us enjoy this as a thing.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be a neat tight bow where we never see any of these characters again. Like, leaving doors open is fine, but a done story, like a completed story for this season of television, because even if we don't, even if we get another season of the show, which I probably don't think we will, I just, it's going to be years. Like, that's just how TV is these days. So just tell a satisfying story in one season.
Yeah.
The Last of Us did it. Like, that was a satisfying story in one season. Penguin, that was a satisfying story in one season. Like, it can be done. Star Wars just hasn't rare. It's been rare for them to do it.
I think Obi-Wan. I think Obi-Wan and Andor. But again, Andor's like the many adventures of Cassian Andor, and it's
exactly.
like
It's even in that. It's blocks. It's blocks of story, and like they were open with that in the beginning. So our expectations were
Andor stuck 3 landings already.
Exactly. Like they had a miracle. They did it 3 times, and it was great. But yeah, who knows? We will see. I think my predictions going into the finale will be that the supervisor is going to be sort of the big bad, as it were, of the series. Jod will be a selfish asshole pirate, but will save the kids' lives. Maybe they don't know that he did that. Maybe it's like something that he does, but he doesn't, like, they don't know what he's doing. He's doing it off screen or out of eye shot or something like that. But I don't know if he's gonna survive or not. I hope he does. But again, the way we think about it, it's like, it's Jude Law. Jude Law's expensive. Jude Law's probably signed on to do a season of Star Wars in a production sense. Oh, we've got Jude Law, but we've probably only got him for 1 season. Let's wrap this up so that people aren't constantly asking to bring back Jude Law because he's so good in this show. We kill him off, but maybe don't. I hope they don't. Go on.
I have a prediction. I think the kids are going to blow up the Onyx Cinder.
Oh, they're going to sacrifice the ship.
Yeah. Wim's going to realize that, like, the outside world and adventure is not all that it's cracked up to be. They're going to destroy the Onyx Cinder. His only way to actually use the money and get in and out, and he's just going to be stuck there. He'll have access to all the riches in the world, but it's no way to spend them. It's going to be useless to him.
Yeah. I mean, that fits the trope of, like, pirates and finding all this money, but it's water everywhere, but not a drop to drink sort of situation. It's Pirates of the Caribbean, where they've got all the gold, but it comes with a curse. It is a pirate's curse at that point.
Yeah.
We haven't really had a cursed,
because that's the thing. Like, it's clear that no ship can get through.
But the parents know that there's people out there. Like, they say, go and find
but they can't reach out to those people. They had to build a funky thing to, like,
and they also know that, or they think that the Republic is the old Republic, the High Republic. They think that is still functioning. They think that people out in the rest of the galaxy know about that, but it's just this big secret. They don't know that secret died off many generations ago. Like, so if they're cut off again, they're cut off again.
So Jod would be the only person to tell them, or
Vane. Leave it to Vane, who's going to come off back to Mandalorian and Grogu, where he's going to tell people who are going to find him. And,
like, is the Onyx Cinder made of Beskar, and Mando has to come in his jetpack and save the day and get the money.
Yeah.
But I feel like we have 1 episode left. We have, like, probably 30 minutes, 40 if we're lucky, to finish off this story. I think that ship is the key. It's been the key the whole time. Like, it's literally a key.
Yeah.
And without that key, you're stuck. You're not able to get in, but you're also not able to get out. That's my. Does
Jod get out? He gets back to his big pirate ship, but the kids blow up the Onyx Cinder somehow. I don't know. Yeah, how?
I would rather see him suffer with everything he wanted, all the gold in the galaxy, with no
SM-33. SM-33 is dead on the ship at the moment. He's presumed completely dead. He's gonna activate his self-destruct like IG-11 and take out the Onyx Cinder.
I think the kids should do it.
I think the kids should do it, but maybe
I think Wim should be the one, like this, his whole story.
He's got to have a wrap up to his arc. He's kind of floundering at the moment.
Because this is Wim's only way out.
Yeah. Yeah. And everyone else is content with going home and happy. They're playing their slapball game. Like, they're having a great time at the beginning of this episode. But Wim's the one, like, whining and just be like, it's all going to go back to the way it was. I should never have done this. Whereas all the others are already at the friends we made along the way stage. They've already hit it. They're happy with what they've got. Whereas Wim is still...
He fought those pirates. He went after them. Like...
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to see that.
I don't know where we're going with it. I don't know what has happening. Who is writing? Who's directing the last episode? Do we know?
No idea. Is it John
Watts? John Watts directing this last one.
Did he do the pilot?
Yeah, he did the first one and last, I think.
Let me just say also, like, we mention him a lot, but I've noticed that he's been mentioned a lot in like reaction videos and stuff like that. Is the music that Mick's putting out is absolutely amazing. The kid
so good.
Is so talented. I'm super proud of him. He's really excited about this. And again, I need to reach out to him and see if he wants to join us.
That'd be amazing.
He's been really busy, and rightfully so. But the music in this show has just been so goddamn good. He puts in kind of Easter eggs and stuff. There was something that he mentioned to me last week. He's like, "Did you catch this?" And I'm like, I said, "Dude, I've been so invested in this show and the characters that I haven't been paying attention to the music," which is like what you want to do as a composer is not distract from the story.
Same as editing, same as
part of it.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. And as soon as he told me, he's like, it's the scene with the crab. And so I went back and listened, and I'm like, oh shit. And I said, is it blank? And he said, you got it. So if you want to hear a musical tribute, when the crab shows up in last week's episode, you kind of have to be a film score nerd, but it's there, and I heard it and I got it, and I'm like, holy shit, that's amazing.
That's something for the audience to do. If you are a film score nerd and you go back and listen to it, put it in the comments for this one. Like, and we'll try and find and see if anyone else.
It's something the people who pick these things apart and go look for Easter eggs and hunt for Easter eggs. Like, I didn't see it on anything.
Great.
But as soon as I heard it, I got it. But I had to be told to go listen to that part.
Yeah.
I told them, I said, I went back and watched it. I said, dude, the music is really low in the mix of it all. The sound effects, because it's a big giant crab. Stop motion, by the way. That crab was Phil Tippett. Great.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Tippett's doing great.
But it was like dude, like, he's like living the dream, like, you know.
And we said it at the beginning of this. We said it after, I think, the first episode, where I was like, what a year! What a breakout year for Mick. It's so good.
It's so crazy.
The diverse stuff that he's been putting out this year. It does remind me of when Ludwig burst onto the scene. My mic just fell over. When Ludwig just burst onto the scene, where it's like, I've been around, I've been here, but now you know my name, and you're not gonna forget it, because I'm gonna be everywhere. Like, get used to it. And I think and I hope that is gonna be the case with Mick.
Yeah, he's seeing like Colin Farrell get his Golden Globe, and him going up to receive his Golden Globe to like mix music. It's like, wow, this is so cool. And it's like, oh man. So yeah, I'm itching for a vinyl release. I'm assuming they'll do a vinyl release. I know that Mutant is doing has still got like the Disney license that Mondo used to have. Or I don't know if Mondo's even putting out vinyl anymore. So I'm like
Anymore.
praying. I'm like, can you please, like, really fucking go for it? Like, if they were to do, like, when they were at Mondo, they did the Mando season 1 box set.
Yeah.
Like, if they did a Skeleton Crew box set with, like,
So good.
oh my god, like the interior box could be like the texture of like the onyx cinder, and
I
then
was
the
gonna
outer
say
box could be the exterior
yeah,
shell, like the exoskeleton shell, like.
so good.
And then like the Paul Mann art, like this is something where I'm hyping myself up where I'm going to be disappointed because they're not going to do it. But Jesus God, if they can do like complete scores for all 8 episodes and do a box set, and then like on the like as a
And you've
bonus
got
track,
Shanty,
or
the
7-inch, like let's get a 7-inch of the Major Tom
Oh
Huttese
yeah,
version.
yeah.
Like I want it all. I want this. Like the music is so good, and I'm really hoping like Disney comes out and just says the numbers are great for Skeleton Crew. We're glad that people are enjoying it, and
I
that
mean,
gives people
reviews
the
have been,
chance
which is
to
so nice.
just just like have this be the thing.
Yeah.
Have this be the
It's
thing that tells you this is what people want, are just Star Wars stories that aren't tied to other shit.
But it's a Star Wars story that's got a vision, and it told us what it was. It told us that it's a kids' adventure.
Pirates, minute one.
It told us that from the beginning, and it's delivered on it. It's not tried to hide what it actually is. It's not tried to like do something that it's not. It told us what it is, and it completed on that vision. Like, and they said like this probably won't be for everyone. The way they marketed it is like probably won't be for everyone. But if you don't like this and you like Andor, go wait for Andor. But like
the trailer was, remember the 80s?
Yeah. And they're still like, even like, for the first few episodes, they were still doing that. Like they did the old VHS scratchy sort of like look for coming up on Skeleton Crew sort of thing. It's like, so if they do those, great. Scott D's got a great idea for what the actual discs could look like. That'd be great.
I'm fine with just black or eco disc or something, like, or
Amazing.
gold or whatever. I don't know. Make one based on each of the kids. So do like call this one a KB Silver and call this one just anything, give me the box set, please.
It'd be amazing.
Yeah, it's all so good.
It's so good. I love the show. I can't wait. We don't have to wait as long as normal because we're going to be back next Wednesday talking about it. As long as everything's okay. We don't know. The world's a crazy place at the moment. Who knows? I'm glad that we are wrapping up the show before I move, which is probably happening at the end of this month now. I've just found out. So that's exciting.
Cool.
Yeah.
And then Invincible.
It'll be Fridays. It'll be we'll have to work around it. You might get an episode on my phone, of me on my phone, because of like changing internet providers and all of that fun stuff that comes with moving house. You can probably see in the background that my shelves are more bare and there are boxes.
Your books are all packed. Your books are packed.
Downstairs, the living room, it's all getting there. Yeah, I've literally just had some bubble wrap delivered, so I can box up the Lego and stuff that's on these shelves. That's the fun that I've got going on at the moment. It's awful. I hate it. I can't wait to move house. I hate moving house. It's one of my least favorite things to do in the world, which is why I've been in this place for like 11 and a half years. So yeah, that's all fun.
Yeah,
but we're getting there. We move.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah. What you got going on, Ralph? Anything exciting this week that you want to talk about before we wrap up?
No, you know what? I'll tell you this. So, like, once the lockdown ended, like while lockdown was on, I started collecting. Yeah, we've been in this place 10 years.
Yeah. We line up on so many weird things like that. Like it's odd.
Working in the comic book shop and stuff.
Yep. Same time.
But we have to like are we on exact opposite ends of the world? Like
not quite, but it's close.
But I'll tell you this, like so like during lockdown, I started getting into vinyl because I was
Mm,
stuck at home and I was I didn't I was sick of watching TV or playing my Switch. It was the same movies and TV shows and
okay,
binging
yeah,
old 80s shows, or it was playing Animal Crossing.
yeah.
So once like lockdown was lifted, I wanted to get out of the house. I started taking pictures. I told Stevie I wanted a film camera. I started getting into that. And for the last couple of years, I've been doing that as kind of a hobby. But I'm like, I think I could do more with this. And so I set up a calendar on my photography site. If you go to opalfilm.com, and for January, I'm like, I'm not going to charge anybody if any, like to my friends, I'm not going to charge anybody anything if you want to just do some portraits and do some, editorial or do any kind of like photo session on film.
Mm,
Um, so that I can kind of build something up. I guess you would say a business. So
yeah.
I could do photography more professionally. And next week, starting next Thursday, um, like in the span of 5 days, I have 3 photo shoots with people,
That's
which is
amazing.
kind of fun. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I'm
so good.
terrified. I'm terrified because I'm using film, which I've had roles like not come out
Yeah.
and stuff like that. But at the same time, I'm like, I think I've got it. And so, like, if anybody has any sort of interest in film photography or anything, or just likes me, go check out Opal Film. It's my last name
I
and film.
I love looking at
It's
your photography accounts and things like that. Like
yeah,
Liz will tell you, I was saying it yesterday. I was like, I get so jealous when I see your photos
yeah,
because your stuff I've watched it grow. I've watched it get better and better and better. And you're at a
yeah.
point where it's so good now. Like it's so I don't know like how much you're studying it or if it is just repetition, like just doing more and
It's
more of it. You get an eye for it. But
I
it's yeah.
because it's me. I can't just like not own all the domains and stuff.
Yeah.
And so I secured the YouTube channel, even though I have zero plans to do a YouTube thing. I got gifted a brand new film that was created. And so I'm like, I should probably do something with this. So I put one
Mhm.
video up. But like, I'll sit here and I don't really study it in the sense where I'm like reading books on how to shoot and stuff like that. I feel like my compositions are good. And so that's all I care about really is compositions.
Yeah.
Um, but I watch so many videos. So I am
Right.
studying, but
Yeah.
I'm just watching like
But that's
that
just
account.
inspiration,
I
like,
follow
yeah.
every like photography account I can on YouTube. And when I'm sitting on the couch boards to give the same TV shows,
Mm.
um, I'll start watching those. And so I start like learning things. Last week I developed my first roll of film myself.
Nice.
It came out so shitty. I think I'll start posting those today on the Instagram
Man,
channel.
that takes me when I
Um,
was at college, I was doing a media production course, and so I did some darkroom stuff back
yeah,
then, and I loved doing it. It was a really fun thing to do. I just never
yeah.
did much of it, and I spent most of my years in college, like
This is
stoned or DJing, so I just didn't continue
yeah.
doing too much. Okay, that's your
This
film.
is my second. This is
Um,
my second role that I've developed myself.
I
My
had a quick
family.
question. Are you still just using your Holga, or have you got another camera or other
No,
cameras?
no, no.
Just
I've
that.
got a lot of
Oh,
cameras.
okay. All right. Okay.
This is my favorite one. This is new. If you look at my avatar now, I'm holding 3 cameras. This
Okay.
is a Pentax 6.7. This is
Okay.
my favorite camera. It weighs 5 pounds 14 ounces. It's the size of my head. Like it's a
Wow.
really giant
It's
camera.
yeah.
It's got this wooden handle so that I can carry it. I love this thing. Um, and so I've got a few cameras. I have a 35 millimeter camera, but yeah, I just the Holga's right back there.
Yeah, I
Um,
see. Yeah.
I've been doing long exposures with that. That
Mm.
people are like, these are fucking amazing. This is the best thing. And I'm like, I haven't used that long exposure cable in the 2 years I've had it. But now it's like that's what people want. I'm like,
That's your
okay.
fun thing.
So it's all learning. For Christmas, I got this a little, it's called a lab box, and it's a little like almost looks like a 3D printed box, but now it's manufactured. I could put my negatives in there and develop during daylight.
I saw
I
that
don't
they
have to.
used one of those in the movie. What was it? Civil War that came out last year. At the beginning of the year, there's a
Oh,
scene in that where like the character, that's a film about photojournalism. That she's using one of those boxes to develop film. And I was like, oh, that's super cool. I did not know that that was a
yeah.
thing.
So it takes all the pain out of doing developing. I don't need a changing bag. I don't need a
Yeah.
dark room, and I can just stick it in there and do it. And then I use a mono bath, which means it's one chemical. I don't
Yeah.
have to dilute it. You put it in, you agitate the film for 3 minutes, and it's done.
Great.
So I don't need a big chemistry set, so I can still do this. Like
Yeah, trays.
it takes up like this much of my shelf. I'm talking too much. I'm too excited.
Ralph's still sick.
But no, it's so if you want to follow that, it's been around. I've never promoted that on anything. And I'll tell you this, fucking Blue Sky. Remember like a month and a half ago when Elon started doing his shit and everybody's like, I'm going to Blue Sky.
Yeah.
So when that started, I was at 275 followers on Blue Sky for my photography account. Yesterday, I just hit 1,400.
Wow.
Like in the span of a month and a half. Super supportive, really nice. And then again, I follow a lot of photographers on there, and just being able to see what they're doing is inspiring me and like letting me know how I shoot, how I should shoot, and how I should be. Not that I need to conform to something, but it's just like I've been going on photo walks every month with like friends, and we go out and do stuff, and like stuff like that where it's like I learn like, oh, like really, really pay attention what the light and shadow is doing and stuff like that. Again, I think my compositions I'm good on, but I need to be more aware of lighting. So it's constantly learning. I got some portraits done of me from my friend Kevin, which you've probably seen if you follow me on Casino Skunk on Apple Film, and if you follow me personally. He did some headshots of me, and I went in, he had a calendar. He charged me and I paid him, but it was like I told Stevie, I'm like, I'm giving him like the $100 for the hour session to learn.
Yeah.
And I learned so much during that session. Also, it's helped my following. It's better to have my face instead of just an Apple Film logo. And so like that was nice. Like anything I do with this is to like learn, and I'm hoping it pays off next week because I have three photo shoots with people, and I again, I'm not charging them because I'm like I might fuck this up, and I don't want that pressure.
But it's such
if it turns out great, I have my Venmo and PayPal, and I started a Buy Me a Coffee account, which I said buy me a coffee, and then in parentheses put roll of film. But I'm like setting it up so I'm like, if these turn out amazing and you love them and you use them, and like I'll consider like tossing me some stuff. And if
even just saying,
great,
like tagging like the photographer is I think people are pretty good at that generally these days. It's like
now
they start using your stuff. It's
now they have collabs on Instagram. And it's one of those things where it's like, if these 3 shoots turn out great, then I'm like, all right, I start setting up.
That's a thing. That's
if you want this is how much it's gonna be for the set with me, and
it's awesome.
Even if
It's awesome to see.
Film.
It's so much fun to watch, and I love it. I like you post a lot of stuff on there, and it's always fun. Like it's something that I can look forward to whenever I open Instagram or something now. Like
I try to do it once a day.
Yeah, there'll always be something around.
I haven't done it on Instagram the last 2 days because I'm kind of mad at Meta.
Oh yeah, fuck all that stuff. Like that's.
I'm like, I don't want to miss out on people, but like seriously, like go to Blue Sky.
Yeah,
I now have more followers on Blue Sky than Instagram.
That's great.
And Blue Sky isn't a photo app, so do that. And we'll see if I stick around with Instagram. But
I think it'll depend, because I mean, all of that stuff that they're doing over there that doesn't fly in the EU or in the UK with our laws and stuff that we've got over here. So at the moment, it's not affecting us, or it won't be affecting us,
Yeah.
but they will be butting heads because they've got the money. And so, as we were saying earlier on, money buys power, unfortunately. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, just everyone keep an eye on that. And at the moment, go to Blue Sky. Blue Sky is a lovely place. I only linger there. I haven't been posting at all, but I still completely support that as a place. It's the good part of the internet. It does still exist.
Super positive.
Yeah.
Well,
that's gonna do it. Me and Liz are gonna record an episode of Top 10 Tacos after we've had some food. We've been putting it off for the last like 3 days because we've been super tired in the evenings. But I think we've got enough energy to do it today. It's
all right. I don't want to get in the way of that. So
covering in our episode of a taqueria that we went to in Scotland. So yeah, we're gonna record that this evening. It'll probably be up next Tuesday or at some point. Maybe I'll do it earlier. I don't know. It'll be up soon, so pay attention to Top 10 Tacos if you want to. Jeremy's excited about it, so that's good.
I'm sure Stevie's excited about it too.
Great. Thank you,
I'm
everyone.
excited about it.
Good. Thank you, everyone, for joining us, and thank you for making Skeleton Crew a fun show to watch and have conversations about. It's really good. I'm sad that we've only got one episode left, but I'm really excited about that episode.
I'm going to say thanks to Patrick Cotner for considering joining us.
Yep, and for putting his safety first. Ralph's done. I'll wrap up. Everyone in the LA area, please stay safe and
please. If
pay
you need
attention
anything, reach
to
out.
what's going on. There are people doing good stuff to make sure that everyone's okay. So stay safe, everyone, and don't give in to hate.
Celebrate the love.
Punch it.